about 10 minutes. But first of all, a couple of years ago, I started cycling, mostly in the summer. And funnily enough, I've actually not done a ride yet because the weather has been so bobbins recently. I go running. I don't mind running in the winter, but I like to cycle when I can do it just in a pair of shorts and I don't really need to have too many tops on and the sun's shining and stuff. Now, it's good and it gets your endorphins going. It's got loads of benefits. Keeps you fit without putting stress. So if you've got like your knees aren't great and stuff, it's brilliant. However, Dave Gill, who's in the studio with me now, took this to an extreme because a couple of years ago, he was a video producer and he felt burnt out. So he bought a bike and a plane ticket and went to America and then cycled for 12,000 miles. And thank God for that. He kept a blog of his activities. He's got a book out now that offers a real insight into what life on the road as a cycling Forrest Gump was like. Dave, good morning.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Lunatic. So here we go. So we've got a bloke in here who's got issues. Right, I've got to ask you the question, did you go to America and walk into a bike shop and buy a bike? Or did you, and I'd never think, buy a bike and put it on the plane?
I bought a bike and put it on the plane. So I quit my job, and the next day I went on eBay, found the only, because I'm like quite a tall person, found the only bike that fit me that was in like 50-mile radius. Went to Preston and got
What, you 6'2"?
6'5".
Crikey.
Yeah,
right.
and got the only bike that fit, and it was like 150 quid. It wasn't cut out for the job in hand, but got me around, so can't complain.
So you get your bike, you go to Manchester Airport.
Yeah.
You put the bike in, well, they put the bike in the hold for you. And which airport did you fly into?
JFK.
And what did you do? Just get on your bike and cycle?
I got like the metro and to the city and then started cycling from there. Because you can't actually like legally cycle away from the airport. But when I got there, the box was like in tatters, holes in it, everything like that. So it was already broken. So it wasn't a smooth start.
So what did you do? Tell me about the very first second. You're in New York City.
Yeah, and it's also pouring down, like really snowing heavily at this point as well.
And you get on your battered bike, and what did you do?
When I was in the city, I started pedaling, and I hadn't really cycled like any long distances before. Like I'd cycled from Withington to Oxford Road by the old BBC.
Not the longest distance in the world,
no, it's
mate.
like, what's that, like 2 miles?
Yeah, 2 miles.
That was really the most I'd ever done. So the first day was like 58 miles or something like that, and it's definitely a shock to the system. But I kind of think like immersion learning, just diving in's a good way.
So what kit do you have? So you've got a bike.
Yeah.
What else did you have?
So the bike has got racks on it. So you've got bags hooked to the front wheels, back wheels, and then you've got like a bag on top of those bags. So you've got a lot of luggage on the bike.
What was in the luggage?
A tent, like a stove, all my camera gear because I filmed some stuff along the way. Literally everything that would keep me alive and like going through all 4 seasons. And where I was going to be, like those seasons were quite extreme. So like really cold to really warm.
What did you do? You know, your first night. So you're cycling out of New York City in a snowstorm.
Yeah.
Okay. So you've done your 50 odd miles and you think, I'm going to die now. I'm so tired. So what did you stay in a motel? Did you pitch your tent? What did you do?
The first night, right? The first day went horribly wrong. Like I didn't realise that riding out the busiest city in America wasn't a good idea. I didn't realise that until I'd done it. But everything went wrong, and like nearly got arrested for going on the wrong roads and stuff. So I was just really shaken up at the end of the first day, and I was like, do you know what? I just need to stay inside. So I did, I got a motel that first night.
And did you camp out most nights?
Yeah, after that, when I settled in and got away from the city, it was pretty much, every couple of weeks I'd have somewhere to like rest properly, but otherwise it was in a tent by the side of the road.
How safe did you feel?
I felt pretty safe, like in terms of people, definitely pretty safe. I think 99% of people want to help. I did feel like there was sketchy moments in terms of trucks, like could have easily wiped you out and stuff, but people-wise, totally safe, pretty much.
So you literally, some nights, I find this, and I wonder if you're the same as me listening to him now, listening to Dave, I'm really jealous of you. In my little Sweeney world, I'd love to do that, and I really mean that, and to be free in a way. Cycle, stop, get off, put the tent up, light the stove, have a bite to eat, go to sleep, get up, get on the bike. And I really can see that. How did you work your route out?
Well, I followed the seasons, and it is a totally it is a simplistic way of life. Just going back to what you said, it was amazing. I don't know if I'd do it again because I feel like I've done it, but it was amazing. But yeah, the seasons, I just followed so it wasn't so cold all the time. I went south in the winter and then north in the summer, basically. So
how long were you on the road for?
368 days, just over a year.
Who did you meet? Tell us about some of the things, because if you're in America, and I'm so jealous, if you're in America for a year on a bike, you've got to have had some amazing experiences, both terrifying, heartwarming. You must have met some amazing people. Just give me a bit of a snapshot if you don't mind.
Yeah, I didn't want to just go on just a big bike trip. I wanted it to be a bit more. And I have a filmmaking background, so I wanted to turn it into a project. So I arranged to meet loads of people, and I'd also meet people along the way, randomly. So I spent time with them, and people from singing cowgirls, hunters, Hollywood directors, kayakers, entrepreneurs, you name it, a lot of people. And I just got a chance to spend time with them and ask them about their life and any nuggets they
and on film.
Yeah, for sure.
And did you arrange them beforehand, or did some of them arrive organically?
Some of them totally organically. So I arranged maybe 6, and then ended up meeting 30 plus or something. And the organic ones were they blew my mind how fascinating these people I met just coincidentally were. There was this one guy. I was getting kicked out of a national park in the morning for just camping in the wrong place, and so was this other guy, and we bonded over getting kicked out. And he told me his story, and when he was 16, he got caught selling drugs in Boston, sentenced to 2 years in jail. At the 18 months into his 2-year sentence, got really frustrated, so punched a prison guard. They gave him another 8 years inside, so he had a 10-year stretch. And he put his head down, got through to the end, and then they let him out with a $60 check and said go get on with your life after spending 10 years inside. And he was like, what do I do now? Because that was home. So he was like, I can either go do something bad, get sent back, and I'll get fed and everything, or I can change my life. So he started walking, and he's been walking for 13 years, cross country. He's just been walking for the last 13 years, and he's the most positive, upbeat dude. It's amazing. It blew my mind, and that was organic. It was crazy.
Look, are you okay for another 10 minutes?
Yeah,
what I'll do is I'm going to. This is fascinating me. I hope it's fascinating you. I'm going to do my travel. I'm going to do Title Fight Challenge, and if you don't mind, Dave, rather than just say, "Oh, thank you, Dave, that was really good," because I've not gone halfway through one I talked to you about. So if you can hang on, Dave Gill spent over a year doing 12,000 miles of North America. And listen, he said, I went south in the summer and north in the winter. He's done this, and there's so much more I want to talk about. So I'll get back to you in a second or two. Get your traffic and travel. Title Fight Challenge, though. You ready? Get your head together. Have a listen, because that's on the way next.
BBC Radio Manchester. Travel update.
So Dave bought a bike on eBay and went to America for over a year, and literally cycled around, camping at the side of the road. And can I just very quickly paint a picture? And I want you to tell me how real this is. We often we see in America. Forrest Gump's a great example. If you look of those roads that literally go on, and you can see them for 10 miles ahead.
Yeah.
Literally, you can see it go right up into the hill.
Yeah.
And
it just gets thinner and thinner.
Yeah, thinner and thinner, that's right. And there's a white line down the middle, and that goes thinner. And either side is just like sagebrush. You know what I mean, don't you? Just nothing. And I imagine you cycling down, and then it's getting a bit late, and you think, okay, it's I don't know, it's 8 o'clock now, and it's getting dark. And literally stopping your bike at the side of one of them roads, putting your tent up, having something to eat, and going to sleep. Now, did that ever happen, or am I wrong?
No, that was most of the time. Yeah, it was. A lot of the time, those long straight roads are only in a certain part of the continent, but it was finish cycling, set up by the side of the road and start again in the morning.
How vulnerable did you feel in terms of making sure, I mean, especially if you were cycling when it was very hot, that you didn't become dehydrated, that you knew that there was water ahead or somewhere you could have a bite to eat or go to the loo? What was that like? How did you plan that out?
I didn't. The whole project was like, it was called Vague Direction, and the whole concept was pretty vague. So I didn't have that many plans. I would try and look ahead and make sure that there was stuff there for water and things. And only like a couple of times got close to like running out. So it was all good. There's a lot of in America, like there's loads of gas stations and stuff scattered everywhere. So you never, apart from in Alaska and like Canada, you're never that far away from the essentials.
And how did people treat you? What were the just regular people like when you turned up with your bike and your backpacks, and say you stopped at a diner for a cup of coffee, and they'd say, "What are you doing here?" Say, "I'm just cycling around America for a bit." What were they like with you?
It blew my mind. Everyone, I can't recall a bad moment. Everyone was like super kind, so hospitable. They'd do stuff like give you meals, like they'd wait ahead, and they'd like be out the side of their car with like a beer and stuff. It was amazing. It totally changed my mind from being like a bit of a cynic, like, oh, what am I doing, to, oh my god, people are amazing. Like if you just give people the chance, like 99% of people want to help, and they're just really kind.
On a logistical front, what was the punctures and repairs side of it like?
Terrible.
Right.
Lots of them. I think probably 40 plus punctures.
What do you do? You're in the middle of nowhere, you puncture. What do you do?
You got patches, so you can, and you got spare tube and stuff, so you can, most of the time you can just repair it there and then. And then
did you buy stuff or make sure you always had spare tubes and...
Well, that's the theory, yeah. But,
what was the... Right, you've got to have had... There's got to have been one terrifying moment. Was there ever one where you thought, ooh, squeaky bum time?
There was definitely a few terrifying moments. Like, there's a lot of big tree-carrying trucks out there that will come... They don't really care that much about cyclists, so they'll come really close, and you're like that.
You're just like collateral damage.
Yeah, and then other things were like in the northwest of the continent. There's a lot of bears kicking around, so that's just it's just a bit scary. The likelihood of anything happening is very slim, but it still keeps you on edge. And when you're camping, like you just get no sleep. So I feel like in that corner, went for like 4 months with barely any sleep because of just having this fear of like getting mauled.
But that's primeval. Do you know that? That's you and I going back to cavemen. That's nothing. That happened to you because it has to happen. You've got to be on the edge of sleep all the time, like which primitive man would have done, primitive woman would have done. And final question, because I'm going to get me news now. Was there ever any problems where the climate was concerned? Did you ever misjudge it so you're too cold or too hot?
The final 3 weeks, I was way too cold for the last. I was shivering all night and stuff. But most of the time, following the seasons worked. It was just in the last like month where it was freezing.
I said today that I have people in every day, and it's lovely to speak to everybody. Some people are very famous, some people are not so famous, some people have just come in because I don't know, they've invented a better mousetrap. But I have never had anybody in ever, whether they're richest, famousest or quirkiest. I've never been well gelled before, but I am today. I would at some point love to do something like you did.
I hope you do it. Yeah, that'll be
because
awesome.
And this is so philosophical. I can tell. You're certainly not burnt out now, are you?
Not at all.
Tell us about the book and the blogs. Anything you want to tell us about?
Yeah, so the book comes out today. Actually, it's called Vague Direction. So it's on Amazon, and it's just vaguedirection.com is my website if you want to check it out.
Well, it's been belting talking to you, mate. And what's your website?
Vaguedirection.com.
Oh, sorry, right. So, of course it is. Yeah. Sorry, I'm thinking of it being something else.
But there's like tons of videos on there from interviews with people and stuff. So,
pleasure having you in, honestly.
Cheers,
and I hope I can take some inspiration for you at some point in the future. Just before we go to the news, listen to this.
We've got to expect setbacks. We just had one. Let's put it behind us and battle on.